Okay, and we are live. So greetings, Admirals, and welcome to a very special live stream from Priority One Podcast. I'm Kenna, hello. And today I'm joined on the phone by a very special guest, Kate Bankson. So Kate, why don't you say hello and explain who you are and what you do for Cryptic Studios?
Sure. Hello. I'm Kate. I'm one of the content designers at Cryptic Studios. I was the primary designer for Butterfly. You may know me from such featured episodes as Sphere of Influence, Surface Tension, and also Time in a Bottle. So those are kind of the things that I've done recently for the game. That's what I do. I'm one of the content designers on Stowe. Happy to be here.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks, Kate, and thank you so much for joining me tonight, or, well, I guess it's today, where you are. We're a little bit far away from each other. So what's going to happen today? Today we're going to be playing through the featured episode Butterfly Effect. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. I can't see the Twitch chat, sorry guys. So if you would like to join in with the conversation, or if you have any questions that you would like to ask Kate, go ahead and pop them in our Priority One chat in-game, because I can see that. And if you're not already a member of our chat channel, you can do that by typing into the chat box /channel_join space priority one. That's /channel_join space priority one. And also, if you're not already doing so, please make sure that you're following us on all of our social media channels. We are on Twitter at STO Priority One, and we are also on Facebook at facebook.com/Priority One Podcast. So, without further ado, Kate, if you're ready, should we do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's hope this goes well. Okay, let's begin. There we go.
Welcome! We have been working with the Krenim to build both this facility and a weapon similar to the one developed by Anorax in the 22nd century. Captain Nog is running point for the Alliance, but teams from all across the Alpha and Beta quadrants are involved with the research. It's fascinating work, but there's a lot to do yet.
Okay, how can I help?
Captain Nog might be able to explain more. He's waiting for you.
Okay, let's go and speak to Captain Nog.
Sorry, I was just looking at the room. most of the dev cycle, this was all just, boring boxes. So it's still really cool to check out.
So how many times would you play through something like this as you're developing it? Do you do all the playing it through and checking it out as you're going, or is it...
Oh,
do you just kind of put
yes.
it together and...
No, play through it, check it out, play through it, check it out, play through it, check it out, add a new part, play through it, check it out. We have multiple play tests at different iterations along the way, and so it's actually often more informative to have naive users play it, because I'm in the trenches. I know that I'm supposed to go talk to Nog. I know I'm supposed to go talk to Adrana. I know that Drake's hiding in the corner, and so having my peers play through it and check things out is very, very helpful.
Yeah, I find that too, because I've done like half a Foundry mission, and the number of times that I run through it perfectly, and then I find a way to break it that I hadn't seen before. I imagine it's very easy to do.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's partially why you have lots of people play it, because you are the worst player of your own missions in some ways. So.
Yeah, because you know what you're supposed to do and how to make everything progress, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's talk to Captain Nog.
I wish I was seeing you under better circumstances. We've managed to make a prototype of the Krenim weapon in Anorax's records, but we have not attempted to use it yet. Time isn't something you mess around with. So we have been conducting simulations here of possible incursions, as well as developing new ways to protect and store data on various timelines.
I'm gonna have him explain
about
this.
Time alteration,
Yeah, I'm gonna let you drive all the conversation, since you're the one who's got the visual.
Anything from a single molecule to an entire civilization. It's as if the target of the weapon never existed at all.
Okay, so it doesn't just move something, it deletes it.
Correct. The
Very
changes
dangerous.
ripple out from the incursion point and result in a new reality where the target no longer exists. This does mean that the ship must be able to fire on a target. The details are a bit more complex, of course, but that's the main difference from conventional time travel. I wish I was seeing you under better circumstances. We've
Yeah,
managed to make a
I think we could
prototype of
probably
the
do an
Crenham weapon
entire,
Analysis records,
you
but
know,
we have not
hour-long
attempted to use
podcast
it
just
yet.
about
Time
talking
isn't
about
something you
this
mess around
time
with,
incursion
so we have been
thing.
conducting
But I think
simulations
Probably.
I think maybe we
possible
won't get
incursions,
into
as well
that
as developing
today.
new ways to
Yeah.
detect and
Let's
store
do
data
this.
on
Do you
various
have any
timelines.
ideas on when to make a temporal incursion?
We've tried a different number of scenarios, but only in the holodeck. Direct action against the Iconians is proving to be problematic, because so much time has passed since they were first a great power. Incursions that far back in time must be carefully planned, or the fallout of even minor changes can ripple across reality. We have, however, seen some promise in trying to delay their arrival. Actually, it would be closer to a 700-year delay if our calculations are correct. The Iconians have had 200,000 years to build their fleets, but we're catching up to them. We've already seen what the 29th century technology can do. Imagine what we'll have in the 32nd century. Exactly. The other potential solution is to cut into their current power base. What if the Iconians never allied with the Alachi or the Solanae? We wouldn't be facing the trouble we do now. The three most promising incursions each follow one of these tactics. My teams have been running simulations and refining their targets, but I'd like you to assist them using a special quantum recursive algorithm. Our simulators can run the outcome.
Hey, did you do that?
I think I may have. I'm sorry.
Did you get bored of listening to Nog speak? Do you know, I love listening to his voice now, because we've heard Aaron Eisenberg on the live stream and in interviews and in, you know, the dev panel at Las Vegas. It's great, because I associate that with him now. I feel like I know him. That's not
He's
totally
a really
not in a
great
creepy
guy.
way, but yeah, no, he's been great. So actually, okay, so Nog's given us an introduction to what's going on. This is a good time. I wanted to ask you, because we had Al Rivera on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and we were asking him about what the development cycle is like for him on a series of episodes like this. And I was hoping you could give me just a little insight into, with your position, what it's like for you when you've got you know, from the inception of, you know, what's going to happen, and then what part do you play in taking that away, and what bits do
Sure.
you do, and
So they say, you know, you're going to be working on this featured episode. Here's what we think maybe the title might be, or, you know, it doesn't have a title yet. But here are the big story beats, and they kind of, you know, give us a rundown of this is what needs to happen. This is kind of where it sits in the season as a whole, and here's what it's doing. And so then I go with my artist, and we kind of figure out, okay, what are we actually going to do? And we put together basically a pitch back to the lead saying, okay, here are the big story beats, here's the stuff that happens in between, and
Right.
here's how we're actually going to present those beats in game to the players. And so we essentially come down with, this is what we think are we do like a paper design of what the layout will be of the area, of the ground maps and the space maps, and here's what we think is going to show up in the mission tracker, essentially. And so we pitch that, you know, to them. They're like, okay, cool, you know, we answer any questions, you know, try and resolve any, you know, problems that may have arisen in this. You know, we need this many assets from here. We're going to need some help with systems over here. We're going to need some animation time or effects time, etc. And then we do a white box, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It is just white boxes kind of laying out the area. And once we're happy with that, my artist goes and he builds all the cool stuff that you're about to see. And I start implementing, like, all right, what critters are you going to fight? What is the dialogue going to be? What are the main points that we need need to hit, what are, what scripting needs to happen. And so we start filling it out, and we start with, a very basic sketch, and then we sort of like fill in the details,
Yeah.
and it's about a 6 to 8 week process or so.
For one episode.
For one episode, yes, it is, and that is one, designer and artist working full time on it. So they're investment pieces, but they're super important to us to do for the fans because this is Star Trek content. You are the protagonist captain of your own little Star Trek series essentially, and you're hobnobbing with cool characters like Nog.
Well, exactly, and while we haven't got a Trek series on TV, this is pretty much the closest we can get. Well, I think anyway. So, yeah.
We try.
Right. So let's go and talk to the Alpha team leader.
Hello. Please allow me to explain what we're doing here. We've determined that if we
there was a lot of talking in this episode. Temporal mechanics. Everyone's least favorite class at Starfleet Academy.
Well, you say that, except that, I think that the idea of, sorry, Alpha Team Leader Sophin, we're just going to talk over you. I think that the whole temporal mechanics and the intricacies of what was going on and how you can change time and all of that business has really sparked a lot of interest on the forums, and a lot of the fans of the game and of Star Trek have been talking a lot about how this would work and what would actually happen.
It's a trope that I've enjoyed until I had to implement it, and now I'm a little bit more guarded. I mean, it's rough, because you don't want to fall into any of the paradoxical traps and stuff like that, and it's you can introduce plot holes very easily, and so it is interesting, but you got to approach it carefully, especially because you want to do it right, or at least as right or as correctly as you think you can. So
on an episode like this, where it's all about sort of time travel and temporal incursions, etc., did you feel like you had to do the process more rigorously, like go over it more times to make sure that you didn't accidentally leave a massive time loophole somewhere?
Well, yes. I mean, we tried to do that anyway. It was just, I think perhaps we were more aware of the pitfalls, so it was very obvious. And we also, can't. This is a lot of talking in it, and part of that is to hit those to fill those gaps, to kind of explain what the thought process was behind it. Like every single one of the scenarios, I personally know what the backstory is, and like what happened before and what would happen next, and what's going on, so that it feels cohesive when you get there. And you kind of know what's going on and what led to this thing. So there is a backstory, and it felt coherent to us, and we could explain it and tell that story kind of a little bit of a glimpse. But yeah.
Well, let's actually get into it, and then we can talk about the scenarios.
Maybe the survivors of a
there were a number of scenarios that we wanted to do, or when we were still pie in the sky crazy ideas that just we didn't have the time for, and so they ended up being mentioned in text, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I was talking to Jace about last night was the fact that I feel like, in a way, this could have been, you could have, not saying it would have been the right thing to do, but you could have spread this one episode out into 2 or 3 and done a lot more different scenarios. I mean, the possibilities are endless, like pretty much literally.
We had to kind of find that balance. The scenarios were up on a chopping block pretty much most of the time until we were like, okay, we like them. They do what we want them to do. They land, because if they weren't going to land, if they weren't going to do what we needed them to do, then it was better to just get rid of them rather than have them be kind of in there.
Yeah. Okay.
The number of stars we
So I can't tell if you've progressed things around because I can't see the Twitch stream either. So
no, sorry, he's still talking.
These simulations aren't perfect.
Like, I'm just gonna go for it.
It's the best option once we run.
Okay. Right, let's go and do Alpha program.
All right. Everybody saw Franklin Drake creeping around in the corners.
Wait, okay, no, because I know that he's here. Where is he?
Here, I'll show you. Right next to Temporal Agent Philip Cray, who you might remember if you are a Delta recruit.
Yes, in fact, I've been and talked to him several times, and I've missed him. And have you been inside this big sphere thing before?
This got added after I had moved off and was doing other things, because so this is an interesting kind of different way that things have been done before. Normally everything is kind of self-contained within the featured episode pod,
Yeah.
but because this is a fleet holding, it was done by a different group of people, and so my artist had to interface with them. And the first time I actually got to see the really cool glowy ball was when I played it on my personal account, because that came in towards the end. It's super awesome.
Yeah. Have you been inside it? Because a previous live stream that we did, one of the guys figured out that you can actually jump in there. I won't do it now because it took me ages. I'm really bad at parkour. But you can actually go in there. It's like a massive disco ball. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Right. Let's move on from the disco ball to the serious stuff, okay? Lady.
Captain, you're alive! We repelled the intruders on the bridge, but the ship has taken heavy damage, and a lot of the crew are injured.
What's the situation?
Sir, I'm not sure this is the time. So many people are hurt, and most of the systems are offline. The life support is on backups, and our resources are down to nothing, and
Okay, I'll help the wounded, but you need to help me.
the
What
Dominion
happened?
stopped firing at us when we lost weapons. Now they're focusing on Earth's defense grid, but it's only a matter of time before they return to finish us off.
Okay, we'll stabilize the crew. These guys.
Sir, I tried to fight them off. Boarding parties. The Gemhead are. We have to stop the Dominion. They can't take Earth too.
Okay, we'll stop them. It's fine. It's weird, it makes me do it too. Even though he's already stood up.
We can't stop them. Maybe if we hadn't been at war with the Romulans. Maybe if the Klingons hadn't ripped themselves apart. I'll be fine, Captain.
Let's get this other guy.
I never expected they would get so far into our defenses.
Incoming hail!
Right, let's go and answer the hail. Oh. Help. I'm stuck. Right.
USS Ajax. Sensors show your ship is completely defenseless, and I would prefer not to delay our arrival at Earth to deal with such a minor annoyance. Surrender now, and I will guarantee the safety of your crew.
We will never surrender! Sorry, I just had to do that. Right. One thing I do like is how, you know, this could have gone very much like you arrive and then somebody tells you exactly what's going on and then you leave. But I like that you get kind of little bits revealed to you.
We very much wanted it to be that the players had to kind of discover what was going on, and so the wrapper we used is the fact that this is all a very elaborate, you know, kind of program that, you know, Seven of Nine and Nog helped build with, you know, the other the Krenim researchers and the Romulan researchers and so on, to try and like figure out what the nuances would be using kind of like organic input to, you know, make it sort of you can't, you know, program everything, so let's have, you know, the human element essentially kind of try and define some things for you based on, you know, chaos and such. But
yeah, I like that, and it makes you feel like there is actually a point to you being in there and experiencing it, rather than, because you could just read it out on a screen, but
right,
that would be very one-dimensional. So right, let's end this prison. I feel bad abandoning them. It's fine, it's not real.
yeah, it's one of these things like, well, you know, like, gosh, do we have more time? We could probably, like, you know, expand it and have you do this and that and the other thing, and then we realized, like, no, let's just focus the experience down, you know, because what happens after all the simulations? This is just kind of setting things up for, you know, kind of explaining, like, horrible things can happen if you are not careful when you are tempering with time.
Yeah, because this was the one, I'm trying to remember back, I have to look at my notes, sorry. this was where we were trying to make it so that they're not quite so vengeful. And yeah, that's great, except for the whole bit where the Dominion then took that as an opportunity, basically, to conquer the entire quadrant. So
my favorite one is the, why don't we just delete the Iconians?
Yeah.
And
oh, have I lost you? Oh.
Nope, I'm transferring.
Okay. That's weird.
Maybe. Oh, it's going to count down because I think I hit the button at exactly the wrong time. So,
okay.
I'll be there in 5 seconds.
That's cool. I'll just hang out here on the holodeck. By the way, coolest holodeck ever.
I know, right?
I'm just, because, my holodeck is like TNG era holodeck, black with the yellow stripes. And that is a significantly upgraded holodeck, I must admit.
Yeah, got to give some props to my artist on this one, who's Keenan. And he's moved off to do some ship designs for us. He's doing ship construction right now, which is kind of cool. But yeah, he's super awesome. And he worked with the other guys to build a holodeck that matched all the stuff that they were doing.
Yeah, I think that was kind of key because you talk about having upgraded the holodeck, and it fits really well.
Even with all that, the simulation data on whether the Iconians were entirely eliminated from that timeline is inconclusive. We were able to record your interactions, and we've been able to piece together what happened from those.
Okay, what did you find?
From what we can piece together, the Klingon Empire was never unified by its conflicts against outsiders, and the great houses turned on one another instead. The Romulans took the chaos as an opportunity to
one of our listeners has asked in the Priority 1 chat, on behalf of the Accolades channel, I have to say, why no accolades in this episode?
The Dominion then conquered all 3 weakened powers.
Honestly, it was just a matter of time. Har har har.
God. Sorry.
I know.
Sorry, it took me a
right?
second. Took me a second. It's fine.
Yeah. It was just a matter of time and getting things done and getting things, set up and being moved off to the next thing and our schedule being what it is.
It just didn't happen this time.
It just didn't happen this time. That was sadly one of the bits that got snipped at the end.
Oh, it's a shame. I did like. I have to say the. Was it Dust to Dust? The one with Captain with Harry Kim, where there was lots of running across electric plates and things.
Yeah.
That was a difficult episode for me, but I enjoyed getting all the accolades, so that was fun. Right.
Agreed.
Let's go and talk to Beta Team.
Another one of you Voyagers? I don't know how you can...
I'm gonna skip some of this
Go right ahead.
My team is working on scenarios that reduce the Iconian power. None of us are going to survive if we don't try to repair the damage you've already done.
This guy's really grumpy.
The goal is
He's really a grumpy puss.
That will force Voyager to divert from the course it was on.
We'll talk more about him later.
Into underspace. If it safely passes without entering under, the simulation is set for the USS Voyager, which is fitting since they caused the problem in the
on the program. I'm sorry for anyone who hasn't played this and really wanted to watch all of the dialogue. This would be a good excuse for you to go and experience it all for yourself, and then you can take the time to listen to all the excellent voiceovers, I must say. Right, let's talk to Clara.
Don't mind Noy. I think he partially blames people from your quadrant for some of the Krennan's troubles. After all, if Voyager hadn't restored the Vought War, they would have never been in a position to ally with the Iconians. But there is no reason to dwell on past hurts. We're trying to... It is a pleasure to meet you. Both Captain Nog...
Okay, I'm going to say goodbye to her, but I do want to ask, I have to ask, right, there's some people now, I'm not that up on Star Trek lore, I'm not a walking Bible or anything, but there's been a lot of people who have been commenting on the fact that she looks suspiciously like a sphere builder. Do you have any comment on that?
No comment.
Okay, we'll move on. I suspected that's what you would say. there are a number of people who are watching the patch notes with bated breath, searching for signs of whether you're going to change her ears, I think was the one that I read today. Or if there's anything about there that they're changing her character traits, then that's a definite sign. So there's people out there who are really, really into their investigative work on this.
I've been watching it on Reddit and on the forums, and it's been delightful to watch. So keep watching.
Yeah.
Oh, Voyager!
Okay, now this is a little bit of a spoiler thing that I'm going to ask you, because the first couple of times I played through it, I just kind of went through it. Is it possible to get a good result, or is it always going to end up in this part of this episode that everyone stays angry and they all beam out?
Everyone pretty much stays angry. The kind of the result is to show that the situation is just so very dire. If you wanted to make a Foundry episode that continues on, perhaps you could do so. But we really wanted to hit home the dire situation and the fact that these people are just at this moment not willing to work with one another at all. At all. It's just it's so difficult and messed up right now.
These people again eventually.
Okay, I'm just gonna go and talk to these guys.
We've always tried to be good neighbors and treat other races with respect, but this is really too much. The Malon are using our system as a dump, and their trash isn't our problem. The Malon might not be the biggest threat, but they are the most immediate.
Certainly you wouldn't be able to get them to cooperate within the time frame that is kind of required.
Yeah, well, I couldn't quite tell because there's a couple of different options that you have. You can go a slightly different way in the dialogue trees, and I just wasn't sure if it would end up being something that you could get a more favorable result, but it doesn't look like it.
Are you here to preach about responsible waste management too? You can save it. I have a commitment to my people and my planet that supersedes any other concerns. We don't need outsiders telling us what to do. If the Talaxians want to talk, they can come to us
I'm just
directly.
gonna sit here and throw a shout out to Nick Taco Fangs, because my gosh, look at this interior. It's so amazing.
I know.
I absolutely gushed the first time I saw the Voyager interior, and gush every time I get to run around in it on my characters, or especially when I get to use it. It's
yeah, I completely agree. I was, when I first joined Star Trek Online, I was fangirling so hard, and when I realized that you could go onto your starship's bridge and then walk around, and there was captain's quarters, and I must have spent an hour just walking around just walking around my ship, not doing anything. And that is
we did a
testament to all the great artwork.
We did a playtest for the first time you get to go on Voyager, and I just giggled and sent him incoherent PMs of excitement, and sat in Janeway's chair and sat in Chakotay's chair, and then I stood and was at the con, and I was like, oh, I'm over at Bellotta Station, yay! Look, now I'm Harry Kim. It was pretty awesome, and then I had to actually play the episode, but.
And then back to the day job.
Yeah, and then back to the day job.
Oh, okay. Well, it's really nice that. Do you are most of the, well, I'm presuming that pretty much everyone that you work with is a huge Star Trek fan. That must be really, really nice to be a fan of the material that you're actually working on.
I am rather busy.
It's really cool, and we want to see it done well, and so we have that power. So
a significant increase in attacks on unaligned transports.
Okay, I'll talk
Good
to the
luck with that. The Hazari aren't interested in anything but making deals. This whole meeting is just a waste of time. Unity might...
Okay, I'm sorry, but you need to be quiet now, right?
What do you want? Did the Benthans make you one of their little deputies? Or was it the Malon? Fine. Run back to the Benthan.
Right. Let's talk to you, Ambassador.
Unraveling this mess could take months.
Poor Sugihara.
I know. He sounds a bit desperate, actually. This could take years. Oh dear. Alright, let's get the data. grumpy man. Oh, he's gonna be even more grumpy now.
Damn, that was useless. The Iconians were so determined to have a hold here that they simply found another species to fit the bill. Maybe if you had been a better negotiator, you would have been able to unite those representatives against the hierarchy. Then at least we would have had a chance.
Yeah, and maybe we wouldn't have had a chance, mister.
This
Jeez.
scenario isn't as catastrophic as trying to remove the Iconians.
He's rather determined not to
It's
like
not
you.
exactly
Yeah,
a team
he's
leader.
not much of a
We'll have
team
to try
player.
something else.
Okay, yes, this
You
isn't
must
gonna work.
excuse my husband's harsh demeanor.
How does
This
she
has been
marry a guy
very
like
trying
that?
time for the Krenim. Thank you for helping us get
Well,
this
you know,
far.
we kind of
We'll keep
figure
working.
he's just rather
Trust
angry
my
because
wife
of
to be
what's
the
happened to
voice
his
of
people.
reason.
And,
I
you
haven't
know, so
done it
so
too
you
hard.
kind of are walking up as the
I-
living
I
representation
just wanna be
of
able to
kind
fix
of
all of this.
this anger that
Can't
he's
turn back
got.
time, but we
Okay,
can
So-
yeah,
change
you
it.
kind of have a point, actually.
Please, speak to Gamma Team.
They did have
Captain
to,
Long
I
thinks
mean,
very highly of their plan.
I don't know, how does it work? Like, how long were they there? Or is that an irrelevant measure of time?
Timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
Wibbly.
Yeah, it's
Regardless, I'm sure that having to remove themselves from the time stream didn't exactly put them in a great mood. Right, let's talk to Jelen.
Hello. We've been waiting for you. Our team is focusing on delaying tactics.
so this was
What
kind of cool.
if Iconia
Yeah.
had never been
Because as
discovered?
part of what the beats for this whole episode were,
Mhm.
you know, it was given to us basically like, all right, so you build the thing, and you do a bunch of testing, and then, spoiler alert, stuff goes horribly wrong, and then you restore things, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
And then you decide that this is not the technology we need. And so, you know, the different scenarios and how we actually did it and what you actually changed was something that, you know, I got to come up with, which was super fun.
Yeah. And actually, just before we do this last bit, is one of the things I wanted to ask you guys was about pacing, because that's something that I find interesting when, you know, if you were reading a book or if you were watching a TV series, for instance, the pacing of an episode is really important. And how do you work that into a gameplay scenario, especially where you've got very much two halves. You've got the first half, which is all dialogue primarily and information gathering, and then you've got a second half which is very sort of combat heavy. How do you sort of piece that together so that you still have a well-paced episode, even though you've got two very different mechanics going on?
Yeah, it kind of comes out in the iteration of the process. We definitely want to mix things up. So, you know, if it's been very, very low, very, very low key, we want to ramp it up a bit. And then if it's been very, very high, you know, activity, we want to kind of bring it down a bit so that, you know, things work and kind of work out the tension of the story so that, you know, it kind of follows a fairly typical, you know, pattern of highs and lows, because that when you have those shifts, that's what people are kind of responding to, and it makes it feel good. It makes it feel solid. It makes it feel engaging, and it doesn't feel tiresome because you're just at one intensity the entire time. And for something like this, it kind of came out that there is a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking, and we kind of were constrained by the fact that this is what we're doing. And the amount of time we had to develop and the amount of you know, resources we had, you know, it was going to be like, okay, we're doing a lot of talking, and now we're going to go do combat. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the nature of this story, and you know, is what it was. We definitely just did not want to have the rest of it be just talky because that would be so very boring, and we didn't want to have all action because that is also a little bit boring.
Yeah, and I'm not sure
but
that
just
would
the
have worked for this episode either, because there's a lot of thought going on. You know, the characters themselves, they're doing a lot of thinking and reflection and trying to figure out what's going on. It wouldn't have worked to just have combat.
Yeah, time travel is a very cerebral kind of concept in general, and so we wanted to address it and like lay the, you know, we're going to make a plan, we're going to go through this, and then we're going to go, you know, execute it, and then everything goes to heck, and it's awful.
Wait. You saying everything goes to heck? That's spoiler alert. Just kidding.
Hey, I gave a spoiler alert earlier.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
all good.
okay, okay, fine. I have played this a couple times.
The program is set for Romulan.
Okay, let's go and run.
Also, considering it's a walkthrough,
The program is set for Romulan.
Okay, let's go and run.
also considering it's a walkthrough,
Yeah.
if you hadn't noticed already, spoilers.
Yeah, true. There might be spoilers.
So this is actually my favorite simulation coming up.
Yeah. I love the interior of this ship, actually. While we were talking about interiors, I mean, I don't know if this is this a normal bridge that you can get on a ship, but I've never been on a Romulan bridge, so I don't know.
This is the Scimitar Bridge with some additional bits and pieces pulled in from other Romulan assets, but it is mostly the stock Scimitar Bridge, I believe.
I do have a Romulan
it's certainly,
team, but she's only up to level 4 right now. I really need to get on that.
It's certainly it is what the Lisette has. Yeah. So, yeah, I went to Christine. I was like, so we're doing this thing, and you guys were cool with us doing Romulans in this one simulation. Can I bring back Tamer?
Yeah.
Is he a guy we can call on again?
Yeah.
And Christine thought about it, and she's like, can we do this? I was like, and she's like, yeah, it's a holodeck simulation of a potential alternate universe. Yes, you can have him. And I was like, yay!
Yeah, I think a lot of people really enjoyed the little cameos we got in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
The big one, of course, coming up. Oh, I forgot to speak to him. Sorry.
Thank you for playing along, Sub-Commander. The Tal Shiar can't hear us now. I need to talk to you about Datan and the Separatists. They've been located near the Dewa system. What we do, if I wouldn't have needed you to lock the door.
We will be traitors.
I've tried to work within the system.
But we have to do what's best. Right. Let's go and arrest your man.
Secret conversations between the commander and one of his senior officers? Very suspicious. Loyal citizens of the Romulan Star Empire have no need for locked doors. Tamer, you are
My friends, it is time we forge our own destiny. A destiny free from the tyranny of the Tal Shiar. If we leave, we will have a better, brighter future than what they would allow us. I know this is a step into the unknown, but it is a step we will take together. Throw off your chains. We will join our brothers and sisters in freedom.
I like that little speech. It was a nice touch.
I was super pleased when I heard the VO at the end. I was like, oh, good. And the other cool thing is that it in Polish, it got turned from a kind of in-world speech that he gave to a cutscene, and I think that just punched it up so much.
I agree, and it helps those of us who are playing kind of get emotionally invested in this option as well. Why can I not get the stupid computer on? Okay, there we go. Got stuck. There we go. Load all data.
I really enjoyed writing the documentation for this console. It was super fun.
Oh, I wish you'd said that because we could have read through it. Sorry.
Oh well, the basic thing, the one you pull it up says, notice Tal's hands. The seminar, traitors in our midst. The historical executions of traitors in the Star Empire has been moved to 2100 hours. Attendance is mandatory for all officers not on duty.
That's brilliant. Well, it's the moment of truth.
That is the most promising simulation yet. It appears there was some merit to our hypothesis that the Iconians advanced their plans due to early contact. The readings do indicate higher levels of Borg activity, but it should be an acceptable risk.
Yeah, especially with the number of ISAs I've been playing.
The data in this simulation does show
Borg
higher Borg
pack.
activity than we're currently seeing, but there are no signs of Herald, Iconian, or Solanae presence at all. And while the Romulan Star Empire is restored to their former power, there is a democratic Romulan group opposing the Tal Shiar. And more importantly, Romulus is intact. This is the result many of our Romulan researchers have been trying to bring about. The political calculus of the Quadrant will change.
Yeah, I can see how a lot of the people present here would be very tempted by restoring Romulus, but
this last test has the most
It's always been this carrot kind of
Saving
hanging
the
over
Romulan
them,
whole
and
is a
so
bonus.
yeah,
We're
they
not
would
going
kind of
for
jump on it.
shots at this. I've been looking at Anorex's work, and I think it's too easy to get into a temporal loop where you try again and again for a specific result.
another one of our
and time
listeners
starts fighting
has asked
back.
in the chat,
I'm inclined to say
Jarek sounds different in this
but this
episode.
will
Did
have
she
a
change
huge
voice
impact on the
actresses?
reality
Do you
we
know
know.
about that?
I believe
Especially
yes.
your
I believe
people
yes, we did
coming
change
to drop.
voice actresses.
I won't give my authorization
Wow,
without hearing
that's a
from
really
everyone.
well spotted. I'm not sure I would have noticed the change in actress, so that's well spotted.
Occasionally we have to, due to availability
Yeah.
and various and sundry things. We are SAG now, and so that does limit us in who we can hire and where we can hire them from because of various and sundry, reasons.
This is
And also just availability.
Yeah.
It would change everything for us. We'd have our home back, but the Republic, everything we've built, it would all be gone. But there's still the simulations.
Yeah, if you play this as a Romulan, you get some different dialogue options.
To reform the Republic. The Tal Shiar wasn't able to stop us the first time. They won't stop us again.
Okay. Well, should we go fight some stuff?
Let's go!
Prepare for immediate departure. Oh no. Okay. There we go. Immediate departure. Is this the bit where it zooms in and you get that really awesome sweeping shot of the time ship? Yeah. I love this.
Target acquired and locked.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Incursion complete.
It will be good to see the world of my birth again.
Elements. Is that
There's this,
Romulus?
the Lisette is huge and the time ship is huge. Oh, this itty bitty little bug.
assimilated?
Now, before we get
I think we have a problem.
too far into the battle, I don't know if it's going to start straight away, but
Expected to see some
I wanted
Borg
to ask.
activity, but this can't be right.
I agree that this is
The whole system can't be assimilated.
I just
Can
wanted
it?
to ask about
That is a lot of Borg.
why did you choose the Borg in this, or what led you to choose the Borg? Was that like a key plot point that was part of the original something happens and then the Borg are there, or was it a nod back to the older scary enemies that maybe aren't so scary in recent times, or how did that choice get made that's what you would do with these guys?
So there was an original crazy idea that we decided very early on that wasn't going to happen. But if you are familiar with the kind of the Romulan story arc and sort of what led up to the destruction of Hobus and what led up, what happened afterwards and the fallout of everything and who was involved, the Romulans in Star Trek Online have always been sort of had elements investigating the Borg and investigating ways to exploit Borg technology. And so the backstory kind of behind this is that some of the people who, were in bed with the Borg earlier or who were involved with, Borg research earlier went too far and ended up basically opening the door for everybody to be assimilated because they were not stopped.
Yeah.
And, without getting into too many details, but the seeds of this are within, the Romulan arc.
Right, I see. So it's kind of like, this is what could have happened if we hadn't sort of gone down that route and everything had sort of stopped.
Blame the Tal Shiar.
We'll blame the Tal Shiar. That's a new motto. Good. Right. Let's go in.
Yeah, the super scary idea that basically told no was assimilated heralds.
Oh my God. That would have been something else.
Completely assimilated. I'm not detecting any non-Borg life signs. This is bad. Really, really bad. We need Borg ships decloaking. Red alert.
Right.
First the Klingons, now the Borg. Does everyone still look for the
Why always flying to the plasma?
I've modified some. We need more information before we can fix this. I'll keep the Krenim ship well out of Borg sensor range while you go in and find out what happened.
Right.
Hurry. I've modified some personal shield.
Right. Ready for transport?
Ready. Have you got a Talaxian, Bridge Officer? I do.
Awesome.
Because that was the easiest way to get bridge officers on this character.
Oh, fair enough.
With any luck, the Borg will have what we need. Maybe. Our folk.
I'm going to join you. I know this place. Or at least I knew this place. Before we lost the homeworld, it was a Tal Shiar complex. Most of the secrets of our empire were stored here.
I find this bit particularly sad,
I thought
actually.
I was getting my home back, but now the Borg have taken it all away.
She had all that hope, and then
the controls ahead of us
the
will
horror
unlock the
of coming.
bulkheads.
Right. Let's, come on.
The whole planet. All our people. Borg. I can't believe we were so wrong.
The visions of the zombie Romulans is a little scary as well.
Yeah, we got some new costumes to kind of tell that story visually.
I'm sure somebody's gonna ask, when are they coming to the Foundry?
Cover me! I'll override the door controls.
That I do not know.
Got it. We have to find a way to make this right.
I don't want to walk through another hallway of zombies. Sorry, adapted, assimilated Romulans.
Borg are kind of fun though.
They are, yeah. In their way. I am glad that before I played this, somebody had the sense to say, take a remodulator.
Yeah.
Otherwise it would have been a very different experience.
There. That's the access node console we need.
And this room's super, super, super cool.
Locked. We'll have to circumvent their security measures. Wait! Incoming Borg!
Stop. Like. Oh, his head. Right, you good? Okay, we have a we have a community question from Cookie Cupcakes. Who says, ask Kate what are her thoughts on Nerve Tonic and will it appear in any future episodes?
No comment.
Oh man, you cryptic people. No comment.
It's
to
in our
everything. Yes, of course.
This was Romulan technology once, but it's been completely assimilated.
I just want to take a look around actually, because this interior is amazing. And is this a completely unique map for this episode? Because I don't remember seeing it anywhere.
Nope, it's a unique map. We built it using, the earlier parts are using some of our board kit pieces, but this room was a custom design.
When we lost the homeworld, I thought that was the worst thing that could happen to us. Akiv?
You will become one with the Borg.
Goosebumps.
Resistance is futile.
Secundus of Borg.
See if I can remember my Don't look at me, mister. Somebody suggested in chat, Sayla being Primus. I did think that. Secundus of what?
Yeah, well, he's always a bridesmaid, never the bride. Poor Hakeem.
Open the temple records.
It looks like the main invasion of Romulan space occurred about 20 years ago. Something happened in the Delta Quadrant. The Borg assimilated something that greatly improved their technology. They adapted, evolved, and my people, they didn't have a chance. Maybe it's our fate to lose Romulus.
Okay. Right. We got one more try.
Let's get out of here. There are more than 20 Borg ships on an intercept course.
Right. No
More
kidding.
Borg
Let's
on
get
the
out of
way.
here.
Borg decloaking.
Looks like I go way out of range. Oops. I'll be there in a second. Just hold him off for me.
I don't have my engineers on this right now, so no.
Oops, I accidentally closed Nog.
He'll be back once we drop out.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, hail times.
Transmit it! We're losing power!
Focus on your repairs. Redata ensure the data is ready. Communications ring is ready.
I'm a cruiser. I don't like being in the middle of the action.
I'm running the numbers now. What is the Borg transport connection? Or bigger than the able to reach Romulus?
There's a great risk. Borg have a great deal of influence. There's no time to lost.
We haven't.
No.
Ah, because we're transferring maps.
Alright. I'm still shooting things though.
Yep. Say accept.
That was weird.
Targeting the transwarp network.
Firing the weapon! Now!
The Borg are gone. But so is Romulus.
Romulus isn't the only thing we lost. Temporal shielding is failing.
What happened?
The Borg did too much damage to the generators.
Oh, I know what's coming
If
next.
we lose the temporal shielding, we'll all reintegrate with the timeline.
Has anything else changed?
Checking. No. The Tutarians. They're gone.
What? How?
I see the problem. 20 years ago, your people tried to replicate the work of the Solanae to protect themselves from the Borg. In this timeline, they failed.
Temporal shield is at 8%.
No, I need to restabilize the shields.
I'm downloading my personal files into the shielded core. You'll have all my research notes and everything we've recorded from this mission.
You're giving up? When the shield fails, if the Tutarians were lost in the past, then you'll be lost too.
Temporal shield is losing integrity.
Is there anything we can do?
No, we all knew the risks.
That bit always makes me really sad.
No.
Sorry, I'm laughing, but it is quite sad.
It is really sad.
Especially because no one remembers.
Mm-hmm.
Although, I suppose we will come on to that. Where are we going? Oh, the conference room. Somebody in chat said, you don't have to defeat the Borg there, which...
No. We wanted to keep the... it's a very hectic situation, and we wanted you to basically, like, escape it.
Yeah.
So, they will just keep coming.
Oh, will they? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to defeat the Borg. I like defeating Borg. Right, so let's talk to Nog first.
And this turned into such a cool room.
Oh yeah.
And it shows 2 uses.
When we're done talking to him, I want to look out the window.
But as far as I know, the Iconians are still out there. We changed the timeline, but we didn't fix our most important problem. We haven't dug that far into the data yet, and it will take some in-depth investigation to catalog all of the changes. No, very. But from what we've already seen, it appears the reason the weapon was fired twice was because we had to try to correct a change we made. Technology like this seems so simple, but even the smallest change can make more trouble than it solves. We have to be more cautious. Far more cautious than we've already been, I suppose. The next mistake might not be fixable. Time alteration might not be the answer. There are some problems that can't be solved with a weapon. But time travel... Look, whatever happens, it was good working with you. I hope we have the chance to do so in the future.
Yeah, sorry, I really wanted to listen to that because I like
Nog's
little speech. But yeah, I remember when I did a live stream with Winters and Cookie a few weeks back when we did the previous episode. Was that Broken Circle, was it? I think, remembering
Yeah,
it.
Broken Circle was the previous episode, and before that was Time in a Bottle.
And that was the one where we got to see the inside of the research facility for the first time, and you come out into the conference room and you look out and you see the entire sea of ships out in the distance. And now I noticed this the last time I played it through. You've got pretty much nothing out there except for the time ship, and it's a very nice little change to the map.
Yeah, like when this was being worked on, I didn't realize that the windows were going to be so huge, and so the first time I walked in after it had been done, it was like, whoa!
Yeah.
This is great!
It's pretty awesome. In fact, before I did Broken Circle for the first time, that was what everyone said, was make sure you look out the windows in the conference room. Right, so I want to talk to Noi.
I have
see
a
if he's
lot of
any less
information
grumpy.
to analyze. The shielded core appears
No.
to have made it through the process intact, and will give us a wealth of data on the timeline and how the changes have affected it. Clearly, you made a mistake somewhere. I still feel this is the best technology available to us, but we will need minds sufficient to the task to operate it.
And the question that I have on this, right, is, and presumably a lot of these questions will get answered in the next episode, but so we've found this data core, but we don't know what's in it yet, and we don't know what anyone's been told. And at this point, do we think that Noi has been told about what happened?
At this point, no.
No.
He's just kind of does not like you because you are one of those Voyagers who are constantly meddling in things and cause problems for his race and cause problems for the Krenim and bring trouble wherever you go. Pretty much all they've been able to access at this point is kind of they've been able to gloss over like the first page of the report, essentially.
Yeah.
And they're being very careful with it because it's, it is the most important kind of black box.
Yeah.
It has all this information in it, but they don't want to disturb it. They don't want to destroy it. There's a lot there, and they're going to be going over it in the next time.
Fair enough. I just wanted to talk about this relationship actually between Noi and Clouda, because I thought it was an interesting choice to have this essentially a romantic relationship as a sort of a B plot in this episode, and I wondered if you could talk about the choice to make that a romantic relationship rather than a friendship or just they worked together or something like that? Why did you choose to do that? And then are we going to see the ramifications of that, specifically the romantic nature of it, in the next episode?
In the fullness of time. Perhaps all shall be revealed. No comment.
Come on, help me out.
I'm not going to speak directly to the next episode, but certainly there will be ramifications.
Okay. So
one could expect.
It was a deliberate editorial choice for them to have a romantic relationship.
It was a romantic relationship because we wanted him to have some redeeming qualities. You know, I mean, he's a guy who does not like you, and we wanted somebody who had that position specifically from the Delta Quadrant, because not everybody is going to like, you know, the changes that were made by, you know, Voyager's flight through the Delta Quadrant. Certainly some species were definitely benefited, and some species did not. And so we wanted to have somebody have the voice of, I don't like you.
Right.
You know, you came into my yard and, you know, you set up shop and then you left. And look at all this mess I have to deal with.
Yeah.
And so we wanted him to have that voice and that attitude because it's new and it's interesting and it gives him some little bit more of a personality. But giving him, you know, a romantic relationship, well, clearly there's this other person who likes him enough that she married him.
Yeah.
You know, so it gives him a little bit more of the, you know, human qualities. He's not human, but you understand what I mean.
That's what I was going to say. It humanizes him, but of course he's not human. But
right, and also, you know, it's an interesting point, and so, you know, if you're, you know, really paying attention to the dialogues and all that stuff, and you talk to her, she's a sympathetic character, and so there's a little bit more impact when she, you know, is erased.
Yeah.
So it was kind of all in that sort of, the reasons were all in that direction, and you know, without giving anything else away or anything like that, you know, it's kind of it really came from a point of, okay, this guy's kind of a jerk, and stuff's gonna happen.
I mean, I know I'm asking you the hard questions, but one of the popular theories of how things are going to go in the next episode is that he's going to find out what happened and his emotional attachment, and because it's essentially our fault that she's been removed from the timeline, and that is going to make him have an emotional change and possibly do something against us in the final episode. Can you comment on that?
No comment on that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I keep putting you on the spot, but I feel like I have to ask.
You could ask, but I can't always answer.
Yeah.
We've put so much hope into using the Krenim technology to solve our problems.
Sorry, I'm just talking to Jared.
Perhaps I was caught up in the possibilities and blind to the potential for disaster. We tried and we failed. But this isn't the end. We'll keep looking at the simulations, as well as any other option open to us.
And Adrana.
I was conducting another simulation, and all of a sudden I got an emergency call telling me to stop everything.
The one sad bit about the fact that, you know, none of this is, nobody remembers this having happened is that we couldn't have that moment with Jirok at the end, because, you know, you're escaping from the Borg, and she's just seen her planet be restored, and then, you know, like,
and then it's
ripped
again.
from her grasp once again. Yeah.
Well, in a way, though, it's almost the word fails me, but it's actually good for her that she won't remember it. That
in a way, yes.
That, you know, it's almost being kind to her. And then just quickly before we go, Jason and I were talking last night about things that, you know, on the surface, if you take this as a standalone episode, it seems like there's, you know, some little bit of plot holes or things that were a little bit disjointed, and I imagine a lot of that's done deliberately. How much of that are we gonna see resolved in Midnight? Is there going to be a lot of things that are being tied up? I mean, the one that sticks out for me is that it's a little bit jarring where we're sort of in the middle of we go straight from the fight back here, and we don't really know what happened or if anything happened. So are we going to get some insight into what's gone on, or
in the fullness of time?
In the fullness of time, and
yes.
I'm dying to know what happened to the Borg transwarp network, but I know. No
it isn't
comment
the
and-
entirety of the network.
Oh,
I've
okay.
seen a lot of people saying you've erased all of the Borg transwarp network, like it's gone. You've changed everything. No, it was that specific gate and that specific portion of the network. It was not the entirety of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's good. Thank you for clarifying that, because that was a
Mhm.
little unclear, and it was a bit like, wow,
No.
what's gonna, like, seriously, that could seriously affect things, and how is that
In
gonna...
the earlier drafts, it was actually like a moon. You know, you delete an asteroid and then you delete a moon. But we decided that was a little bit too samey, and given how much emphasis we were putting on the whole Borg thing, we're like, oh well, no, this portion is now gone, and that has some ramifications that ripple outwards.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I thought it was a really intriguing idea to go down that route of, not just go back and change something in time. I mean, we've done that a lot, but well, the episode is aptly titled "Butterfly Effect." Change one small thing, and then it ripples outwards and has unforeseen consequences. I thought that was a very good concept, and on the whole, really well executed. I'm really looking forward to seeing the next episode, because there were some parts of this one that were a bit like, for me, I got a bit confused. But
time travel.
Yeah, timey-wimey
It's one
stuff.
of those things.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the next one and the conclusion, and how everything sorts itself out.
Mhm.
Good.
Yes, in the fullness of time, Midnight will certainly touch on things as well as other things, and it'll be pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I can't say much more than that. I'm absolutely not going to spoil anything.
Do you know, I was so looking forward to getting you to slip and say something.
No.
And I'm really disappointed that I didn't manage it. No, I wasn't actually out. No, I wasn't quite that trying to be that sneaky about it. But right, I'm just gonna beam back up to our ship and complete the episode. You're never gonna speak to me again after this. After trying to like pull information out of you.
You're not the first, and you won't be the last.
No, but it must be good. It must be fun.
We're not doing this to be cute and keep things away from you, but at the same time, we don't want stuff to be. We don't want to have spoilers. There's cool stuff that's happening, and we want you to be able to experience the full awesome effect when you go through a thing and you're like, ooh, holy crap, that's a thing that happened. My goodness. So it's more because we care. It isn't because we're being, mischievous or snarky or, trying to hold it over anybody. It's mostly because, like, we're building awesome stuff and we want you to experience the full awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing a great job so far, and I've really enjoyed the story arc so far, and I'm really looking forward to the conclusion. So, you've done pretty well so far, I would say, at least for me. Anyway.
Well, thank you very much.
So thank you very much for joining me, and some good insight there. I'm sorry that I had to keep prodding you for secrets, which obviously you can't give me, but we try.
It's all good.
It was really enjoyable, and there's some really good stuff in there. So thank you so much for joining me, and it was great having you on Priority One, and potentially sometime in the future we'll have to have you on again for the main show. That would be a really good thing.
Oh, that'd be lovely.
Available. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much.
You guys know how to contact our people.
Yeah. Well, I'll have my people call your people.
Yeah. We'll do lunch. Ciao. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you to everyone who's tuned in and has listened, and thank you for some of the questions that we had in chat. And again, thank you, Kate, and we will see you guys all soon. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.